Welcome to 20 to 30 minute Tuesdays. I want to continue and I want to jump right in because my time just seems to be it gets away from me, right? Um, I make little inserts into what I'm hearing or what I have been given to share. So yeah, that takes time, takes some time. So let's jump right in. We were talking about uh, Korah, who Jude refers to as a false teacher. Jude looked at or pointed out the patterns of those who are considered false teachers. They are those who are used by the enemy to lead the people astray. So he names Korah. He talks about his rebellion or his opposition, some translations say. And it was through his seducing speech. He talks about Balaam, who was led away or seduced himself by money, greed, and Cain, who killed his brother, which we know he was jealous. If you look at though Korah, something that he and Cain had in common was being jealous of God's choosing. The way God wanted something presented, they had an issue with because to them it put them at a disadvantage, right? And it did not. The Lord will make a distinction in his choosing. And sometimes that is by what he asks us to offer. Now, Jesus is our brother. He is the first fruit. We are joint heirs with him, right? And so the Lord had chosen him. Jesus did what pleased the Lord. This was not about performance. This was carrying out something that was required that only God could. Man was so flawed and sinful, he could not carry out his part of the covenant, right? It's more to that, but let's just keep it in reference to relationship, right? Because we were talking about offering. I'm going back to Korah. So false teachers tend to have within them, according to Jude, greed, jealousy, selfish ambition. And what it does is cause them to overstep or disregard sacred boundaries. And if they disregard and overstep sacred boundaries, they will lead others to overstep and disregard sacred boundaries, not boundaries set by man, but by God. If we look at Balaam, the Lord told him not to do something, not to respond. Now, I believe the Lord was addressing, or he went this route because he knew what was in Balaam's heart, the weakness of Balaam. Do you understand? So he goes there before the men even come. Hey, don't go with these men. Just like with Cain before he killed his brother, he said, "If you do what is right, will it not? Will you not be received?" This is not about performance. This is about responding. Okay, that being said, let's go back to Korah. Good morning. Let's go back to Korah. What we have to consider is this: it's not always what is asked, but it's about our response to the one who asks. And we respond out of our heart. So it's not about performance. All of these men were in pride. Pride is the sin of the mind. I think it should go like this. I I don't see it that way. I, instead of responding, okay, all right, anyway, so Korah, he makes this argument and he acts like he's standing up for everyone when really he wanted to be distinguished above the people of God, not just among the people of God. Now, he was a priest. So priests were given their assignment, their task, um, their part in worship was to help prepare the incense, help prepare the sacrifice. That was distinct. That's them being set apart. And this separation happened way before these men even existed. God had a plan in mind. If you go back to when Levi was chosen, it was through Leah's rejection, being rejected by Jacob. And when she had her son Levi, the third one, she said, now my husband will be attached to me. Now my husband will be joined to me. God heard, saw the pain and the cry of her heart. She was put in a position that wasn't her fault. Her father put her in this position through his greed. He disregarded her, his selfishness. He disregarded her because he wanted to keep, again, the false teachers, the pattern, the spirit. He wanted to keep Jacob working for him because Jacob had a blessing on his life and everything he put his hand to prospered. It increased. So Jacob said, so Laban said, hey, I want to keep him. I want to keep him. And this is the way to do it. He wants my other daughter. I'm going to make him work for her. Now, we don't work for a blessing. We don't perform. We don't perform, right? We are received. We are accepted. We just be. But he was not treating him like a son. He was treating him like a slave. We are heirs and joint heirs with Jesus Christ. We don't perform or work for God. He is our Father. So when he asks things of us, it is our reasonable service as sons and daughters to respond. Do you understand what I'm saying? And we respond not out of fear. I'm sorry. I don't want time to get away from me. It did last week. So let me take my time so let me go back. So the importance of considering where the Lord has set you and deem it to be an honor, deem it to be significant, deem it to be uh, sufficient, deem it to be a place where we we worship him in, through, but as his own prized possession. Okay? All right. Treasured possession. Let's go. Let's start at verse. I forgot where I left off, but I don't want to go back. Um, so Dathan, it's in number 16. So Dathan and the priests were given the charge to help or assist in preparing the incense that were to be offered to God. God has set them apart for this. They were to assist the high priest in preparing the preparing uh, the sacrifice that was to be presented to God. So you see the dilemma. They were set apart and set in a place to do a particular thing, but Korah did not want it. He wanted, I want to be able to sacrifice. I want to be able to present the incense. Why can't I? So he knows that if he says it about himself, it will be a problem. He's not going to get anybody to partner with him. So what he does is, because he has a seducing speech. So in Jude, it says the rebellion, it's not just talking about the act, it's the way he did it. He was very seducing and deceitful in it. So he gathered people with him, about 250 people with him. And he said, we're all right. He says, the whole community of Israel has been set apart by the Lord. And he is with all of us. What right do you have to act as though you are greater than the rest of us? You notice when someone is not content in the place that God has set them, they will look at someone else, that's comparison, will look at someone else, comparison is jealousy, and covet what they have and say, you aren't better than me. What gives you the right to do that and I can't? You're not better. Who said anything about that? But again, he's gathered 250 people to stand with him in his argument. He's not defending them, he is talking for himself. But they believe he's speaking for all of us. So he is in deception. He has deceived them in rallying with him. Yeah, that happened in heaven before time began. One third, one fourth of the angels were deceived. Okay. Anywho, because someone wanted to present themselves as God. Okay. So when Moses heard what they were saying, he fell down on the ground. And then he said to Korah and his followers, tomorrow morning, the Lord will show us who belongs to him. So he's going to answer your questions. Since you asked me the question, the Lord is going to answer you. Because this is not really about me. You have an issue with the Lord's choosing. You have an issue with the way he does stuff. We have to be careful that we don't look at men and disguise our discontent as being bothered by them being unfair, when really we have an issue with the way that God does something. Do men abuse their position? Yes, they do. Right here, Korah is in a position, he's been set apart, but he's discontented by it because his own selfish ambition, because his own greed, because his own wanting to lord over the people of God instead of being content with where he has been set by God among the people of God. What he did not consider is that he was set apart. He was set apart. He didn't want that. He wanted to be set over. And he was deflecting, accusing Moses and Aaron of doing what he was doing. We have to be careful that we do not do that because we're discontented, because of selfish ambition, because of jealousy. God calls this, when you operate in it, according to Jude, he calls you will be as a false teacher. Teachers just don't say, they teach with their actions. Okay. Anyway, he said, tomorrow morning, the Lord will show us who belongs to him, who is holy, and the Lord will allow only those whom he selects, chosen, to enter his own presence. So then he says to them, y'all prepare y'all incense. Now the issue was, they did not want to just help in preparing the incense. Korah wanted to offer the incense. Now the whole time, the 250 that he had seduced to stand with him, they're not considering that among all of them, only one can be chosen. They're not considering it. Just like with Daniel and the men who had an issue with him and wanted him to get thrown in the lion's den. Yeah, because the king favored him. So that's four, Daniel and them. Well, when Daniel is done away with, of the three, one of them, all of them wanted to be the one who was chosen in Daniel's place. Don't let people seduce you out of your set place, the place that God has set you in for Himself. Do not allow people to cause you to be discontented with where God has set you, as if it is not significant. It is. Just because they're discontent, don't mean that you have to become discontented. All right. Again, this is something that happened before time in heaven. One third, one fourth of the angels fell because one being wanted to be as God and was not content in the place that God had created him for, to reflect God. Okay. All right. So then he said, Korah, you and all your followers must prepare your burning incense. Light fires in them tomorrow and burn the incense before the Lord. So it's not about who burns the incense, it's who they are being presented to. They put more emphasis in their part than they did God. And this is the issue that we are seeing. And instead of people fighting and trying to disregard titles and disregard functions, why don't we consider that the Lord has set these things in place for Himself, and He chooses who He wants to present something to Him? It is not about being over people or lording over people. Ephesians 5:1, be imitators of God as beloved children. That is your first place. A beloved daughter, a beloved son of God. Beloved. You know, when children know their love, they imitate. They want to put your hat on. They want to do this like you. They want to do that. They want to do that like you. They want, until they get a certain age, and then they want to judge you for everything that you doing wrong. You know, then they may forgive you as they're older because they come to understand. I am 50. How old am I? I am 56, and I have a 30-something-year-old daughter. So yeah. Anywho, he said, then we, all of us, will see whom the Lord chooses as His Holy One. You Levites are the ones who have gone too far. So Korah said, y'all done gone too far, making all these rules and laws and setting people in place as if you are Lord over. She said, no, y'all the ones that have gone too far. But we're going to let the Lord choose. We're going to let the Lord make the distinctions among us, letting us know who He has chosen, who He has set apart. We're going to let Him do it. I'm not even going to do it. You're not going to do it. We're going to let Him do it. That's the significant thing. God, if I wanted my house painted and people will bid for it, the contract, right? So you have a project and you want something done. And so people will bid for the contract or for the opportunity to do it. Isn't the choosing up to me? It's my house. I get to choose who I want. Both feel, or all feel, who bid for the contract, that they are best. But of course, they're bidding out of a selfish, they're not bidding for me. They don't care about They're bidding because they want what I have. They want the money, right? Um, but it's up to me at the end of the day who I choose. And they all would feel they are the better choice. Sometimes we think, because we compare the things of God to natural things instead of comparing the natural things to the things of God, the things of God being the weightier, right? But often we do that, and so we assume this is how God does it. No, He does not. Again, the Levites were chosen by God before Aaron existed, before Korah existed. So God already had a plan for them. Mind you, Korah was of the Levites who was chosen, but he was discontented where God had set him in the choosing. Many are called, few are chosen. Well, when you are chosen, you are still set where God needs you to be. And it is for Him that you are set, not for you. You are separated among the people for something particular, not from or above the people. All right. So Moses addresses what the real issue is that had escaped the 250 that were seduced. He said, does it seem insignificant to you that the God of Israel has chosen you from among all the community of Israel? To be near him chose you. To be near him chose you from among them. To be near him so you can serve in the Lord's tabernacle and stand before the people to minister to them. So the reason for this appointment is for you to stand before the Lord and minister to the people in God's stead. And you minister, you stand before the Lord in place of the people. The only thing they didn't do was present the offering. Then he says, Korah, he has already given this special ministry to you and your fellow Levites. Already been done. You don't have to fight for it. You don't have to compete for it. You shouldn't compare yourself. Then he says, are you now demanding the priesthood as well? God has chosen and set you here without you doing anything. And now you have the nerve to demand. There are many that are online that are speaking, sharing because you can. Doesn't mean the Lord has chosen you to set you in this place. There are some that I know operate in signs and wonders, can't preach a lick, but they're on social media trying to get a following and trying to preach or trying to share the word, trying to minister in that way because they want a following. But the Lord has chosen them for signs and wonders, but they want to get online and preach. And sometimes you're like, what are you talking about? Because what God calls us to do, He graces us to do. It's not our own ability or skill. And so Moses was saying this to Korah, like, you're demanding something when you didn't even earn where you are. You didn't earn that. How dare you demand something that you're not even graced to carry? You don't have the capacity to carry. The patterns of false teachers intruding into spaces they do not belong. This is how Jude describes it. Cain intruding in places he did not belong. Balaam intruding in places he did not belong. Korah, intruding in places that he did not belong. Why? He was set in a place, trying to force yourself into another place. You are intruding into sacred spaces. Something that Moses said when he was talking to him. Moses was very humble man. He said, "The Lord has already given you this special ministry. Now you're demanding something else. So you don't even deem where he's put you as special or significant. You've disregarded it. Who's to say you won't become discontent if you were in the priesthood?" This is what happened before time, where Lucifer was set in a place by God to present himself before God, then turn to the host of heaven. He was not content with that position of being a scene of reflection of the image of God was on him, and the angels bowed to it. He wasn't content with that. He wanted to be God, not present him, not reflect him, but be him, because he wanted their worship. And the reality is, Balaam worshipped money. Sometimes we could start worshiping. I remember asking the Lord one time, "How come your people don't know when we're in idolatry?" And he said, "Because my people tend to idolize that which I've given them." All right. And then he says, "The Lord is the one you and your followers are really revolting against. For who is Aaron that you are complaining about him? It is the Lord at the end of the day that you have an issue with." That's the truth. We'll have an issue with God's way, and we will speak and argue with men who are standing in a place that we actually want. But in our heart, we're saying that God is not fair. And again, he says, God has put you in this special ministry, and now you're demanding the priesthood. You didn't even earn where you are. You did nothing to get where you are. A problem we have among the leaders. These were leaders, so that's what I'm talking about. These were leaders. These weren't someone trying to be a leader. And these were leaders who were discontent. And we see it in the body of Christ. You are discontent with where God has set you, and you're trying to do everything. Oh, that's popular. I'm going to do that. There's a well-known minister. I will not say his name. I know that he watches, or his team watches what is done, what is responded to, and they usually seem like they go by his followers. It's a business strategy, and they go look at his followers praise pages and see what they respond to, and then he copy it. I know that what I know. I will not accuse them openly, but I know what I know. So instead of him being content with preaching the gospel and doing what the Lord has given him to do in his other endeavors, he want to steal. Okay, fine, it's his team. Steal from other people that are less visible. Take their stuff, and then he presented. I've seen it. And I was like, no, that is not what's going on. That's what's going on. Anyway, my time is up. We will continue next Tuesday. Um, Heed the warning. This is for these are leaders who are doing it. The Lord know how to show those that are His. You're a leader and you belong to the Lord. But where you have set yourself or force your way into, the Lord will remove you. And if you repent, He will just set you back in the place that He has purpose for you. If not, you won't be allowed, let's just say that, to do what He intended, nor what you want. I'll see you next week, guys. The Lord is returning reverence, holy fear to His people, to His leaders in the body.